1974 in New York, a child named Thaddeus Savannah or Ted was on a journey with his father and older brother to his grandfather's house. He was often ignored by his brother and father and couldn't do anything about it. A moment later, a strange phenomenon happened. In a brief moment, he felt like the car moving so fast and he was transported through a dimensional portal. Finally, he arrived at a hidden magic temple known as the Rock of Eternity. There, he met someone who claimed to be the last wizard on Earth named Shazam. For centuries, he carried on his duty to guard the 7 deadly sins and made sure that they didn't escape. He was on a search for a successor to replace him as the new Shazam. Shazam itself stands for Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, and Mercury. Those are the names of the 6 gods of Greek mythology. The wizard said that his successor, or what he called the champion, had to have a pure heart and a strong will. The wizard then tested Ted, but unfortunately, Ted was not the chosen one to be the champion. He was tempted by the whispers of the 7 deadly sins to take a ball called the Eye of Sins. Shazam felt very disappointed and returned Ted back to his car. As soon as Ted returned to the car, he immediately told his brother and father what he just experienced, but of course, they didn't believe it. His brother even mocked him and they argued. Unfortunately, their argument made their father lose his focus and their car crashed with another car. That incident injured their father badly. Meanwhile, after his failure to find his successor, the wizard used his last bit of strength to recruit more people so that he could find the new champion as soon as possible. In the present day, in the city of Philadelphia, a child named Billy was seen. Billy was known to often move from one orphan to another to find his mother who has long been separated from him. Thanks to his behavior, all orphanages refused to accept him, until one day, a husband and wife named Victor and Rosa gladly accepted Billy as their foster child. Victor and Rosa also apparently had adopted several other children including Mary, Pedro, Eugene, Darla, and Freddie. Somewhere else, the grown-up Ted, or now known as Dr. Savannah, had founded a company that specifically researched the phenomenon of the Rock of Eternity. He provided services for people who experienced the same thing as him. Turned out, since his meeting with Shazam long ago, Dr. Savannah had become obsessed with returning to the Rock of Eternity, and that was why he used the information from other people to be able to find his way back there, until one day, after decades of research, he finally realized that there were some symbols that could be used to connect with the portal of another dimension. After learning the symbols, he managed to open back the portal that brought him back to the Rock of Eternity. Once again, as soon as he arrived, the 7 deadly sins incited him to take the Eye of Sins so that they could break the seal and escape. Sure enough, after taking the Eye of Sins, the thing shrunk and went straight to Dr. Savannah's eyes. The 7 deadly sins possessed his body and beat the wizard who tried to stop him. After the incident, the wizard realized that he had to find the champion as soon as possible. On the other hand, Billy and the others just came home from school together. At that time, 2 kids who used to bully Freddie showed up. At first, Billy didn't really want to interfere with their affairs, but when they said that Freddie didn't have a mother, Billy was triggered and immediately attacked them. Enough of beating them, Billy ran away and was immediately chased by the 2 kids. Fortunately, he managed to escape by getting into the subway and immediately leaving them. When the train started moving, things started to get weird. Some strange symbols started popping up on the screens inside the train. The train moved very quickly and lights started distorting outside of the train. In the end, only he was left on the train. Not long after, the train stopped. Slowly, Billy came out and arrived at the Rock of Eternity where he met the wizard, who looked way weaker than he was before. Finally, without knowing what really happened, Billy was crowned as the new champion. The wizard then explained Billy's task as the new Shazam. He was tasked with a mission to seal back the 7 deadly sins to the Eye of Sins before they caused chaos on Earth. Hearing that, Billy looked confused and thought that all of that was just an illusion. Shazam then asked Billy to hold the staff and shouted the spell, Shazam.
Shazam?
Yes! With that ritual, Billy finally became the champion. After the coronation, Billy's appearance suddenly changed into an adult. Shortly after, Billy woke up inside the train and found everything back to normal, except that what he just experienced was real. He had actually turned into an adult, complete with a superhero costume. He then went home and met Freddie. At first, Freddie didn't believe that it was Billy, but after Billy explained everything and provided evidence, Freddie finally believed him. Freddie, who really liked superhero characters, immediately helped Billy to find his superhero strength and found out that Billy could use the power and speed of lightning. With his current form, instead of acting like how a superhero should act, Billy instead thought of buying alcohol at a convenience store. Coincidentally, 2 robbers showed up and Billy immediately had an idea to test his strength. With great confidence, Billy asked both the robbers to shoot him, and it turned out that all the bullets did not hurt him in the slightest. With one light push, Billy knocked the 2 robbers out of the window. Billy and Freddy finally returned home. They went in secretly so that nobody saw them, but they accidentally entered Darla's room. Billy immediately covered Darla's mouth and started to explain everything, but suddenly, when he mentioned the name Shazam, he returned back to normal. He then realized that was the spell to change his form. The next day, Dr. Savannah showed up at the office where his father and brother were having a meeting with some of the employees. Dr. Savannah, who had managed to get a superpower, then immediately took revenge on his father and brother who had always discouraged him since childhood. He also took out all the 7 deadly sins demons to kill everyone including his brother and father. At the same time, Freddy and Billy were currently recording Billy's new power for YouTube content. Unexpectedly, the video went viral. After that, Freddy bragged about Shazam's popularity to his bullies and told them that he was going to invite him, but the idea turned out to be rejected by Billy because he didn't want his identity to be known by the people closest to him and hurt them. Starting from there, Billy and Freddy's relationship began to strain. Billy spent more time skipping school and performing his power in the city, until one day, he accidentally caused an accident. Fortunately, Shazam managed to save everyone. Suddenly, Dr. Savannah showed up and approached Billy. He immediately beat Billy in front of everyone. The 7 deadly sins incited Dr. Savannah to kill Billy before he managed to catch them. For the first time, Billy finally faced a very strong opponent, but because he was not used to his strength yet, he immediately ran away and turned back into Billy. Unfortunately, the video of Shazam's fight with Freddy was caught on camera, so Dr. Savannah immediately caught Freddy and forced him to tell Shazam's location. Meanwhile, at the house, Billy's siblings already knew about his identity. Eugene said that all this time, he and the others had been investigating Billy's mother's location, and now, Billy's mother was known to live in an apartment not far from there. Without further ado, Billy immediately ran to his mother's apartment. After a very long time, Billy finally met his biological mother, but unfortunately, his mother admitted that in the past, she deliberately threw Billy away because she felt that she wouldn't be able to provide for him. With a heavy heart, Billy decided to leave his mother, who currently also has a new family. Shortly after, Billy got a call from Dr. Savannah, who has now taken his siblings as hostages. Without wasting more time, Billy turned into a Shazam and went to save them because he didn't want his siblings to get hurt. Billy was forced to follow his orders to go to the Rock of Eternity. There, Billy was asked to hand over all his strength to Dr. Savannah, but suddenly, Freddy and the others came to save him. There, they realized that Dr. Savannah's power relied on the 7 deadly sins, which meant that without them possessing him, Dr. Savannah was nothing more than an ordinary human. They immediately ran away, but unfortunately, they didn't know the way out of there. They asked Billy to concentrate so they could teleport to another place, and it somehow worked. Even so, Dr. Savannah still didn't let them escape. He chased them all the way to a carnival. Dr. Savannah then took out 6 of his 7 demons out of his body to attack Billy and his siblings. Of course, Billy couldn't handle all the demons at once. It made him very frustrated. Dr. Savannah threatened to kill them all if Billy did not give up his power. At that very moment, Billy remembered the wizard's words, saying that his power could be shared between his siblings. Billy immediately grabbed the staff and asked his siblings to say the spell, Shazam. He successfully shared his powers with his siblings so they could all help him to defeat the 7 deadly sins. After that, they fought each other for an hour. Billy tried to lure the last demon in Dr. Savannah's body to come out so he could easily defeat him. Sure enough, the demon was provoked to come out. Billy quickly took away the Eyes of Sins and sealed all the 7 deadly sins. He then returned the Eyes of Sins to the Rock of Eternity, the place where it belongs. 2 years after the defeat of Thaddeus Savannah, 2 mysterious women were seen in a museum in Athens, Greece. They were the daughters of Atlas, one of the gods of Greek whose strength was stolen by the last wizard. They broke into the museum to steal the magic staff of the last wizard that was previously broken by Billy. Steal a magic staff that was previously broken by Shazam. The moment they touched the magic staff, it was like they both felt a very strong flow of power. As soon as they got their power back, they made the people in the museum feel very scared. Calypso controlled the visitors' minds to make them attack each other, and Hespera used her power to turn everyone into stones. In Philadelphia, Billy and his siblings were doing their own activities. Suddenly, they found out that a big accident happened on a bridge in the city. They immediately turned into their superhero form and rushed to the location to save the day. Luckily, they arrived on time when the bridge was about to collapse. They then split up and worked together to save the people there. After making sure everyone was safe, Billy and the others returned to the Rock of Eternity that they had modified as their base. Billy started a meeting to discuss the mistakes they made when helping people on the bridge, but unfortunately, the others had their own businesses and could not attend the meeting. Billy felt upset because his siblings were not respecting him. Mary thought that Billy was too controlling. Billy was afraid that his family would abandon him. Mary then told him to stop being too controlling and started managing his life. He would be 18 in no time, and thus he had to find a job to be able to stay in their house. In the realm of the gods, Hespera and Calypso went to a prison to meet someone who turned out to be the wizard that gave Billy his power. Turned out he was not dead after giving his power, but instead got caught and locked up in the prison in God's realm. The wizard was surprised to see Hespera and Calypso, who had gained their power. He was also disappointed in the champion for being unable to keep the staff safe. Hespera and Calypso then forced the wizard to repair the staff and activate his power. After that, the wizard secretly took a splinter from the staff and used it to send a message to Billy. In Billy's dream, he was told by the wizard that the children of the Atlas had managed to get their hands on the magic staff and they would soon hunt Billy and his siblings. At school, Freddy met a new student named Anne. They got closer since then and often spent time together. Billy also got acquainted with Anne. Then, Billy told Freddy about his dream. They were surprised to find out that the wizard was not dead. After that, Billy immediately gathered everyone at the Rock of Eternity and asked them to find as much information about the issue. After searching on the internet, they found information that the children of the Atlas were assigned to guard the Seed of Life that will restore the realm of the gods. The Seed of Life is known to be dying and is currently guarded by a guardian dragon. Billy hoped that everyone could work together to solve the problem. Pedro then took them to his secret library, and with the help of a magic pen named Steve, they began to collect more information about the daughter Atlas. With the help of Steve, they discovered the dark truth of the gods in the past. Back in the past, the gods used to torture humans with their power. To stop the gods, the wizard absorbed the power of all the gods and stored it in a magic staff. With that magic staff, the wizard managed to make a barrier between the realm of the gods and the world of the humans so they couldn't interfere with each other's lives, but the staff was broken, allowing the gods to cross the barrier and entered the human world. Unexpectedly, apart from Hespera and Calypso, Atlas turned out to have another daughter named Anthea, who turned out to be Anne, the girl that Freddy got close to. When Freddy was showing off his superhero power on Anne, Hespera and Calypso suddenly showed up and immediately took away Freddy's power. Calypso even made a teacher who wanted to save Freddy jump off the building using her mind control power. Soon after, Billy and the others came to save Freddy, but unfortunately, they also failed because Anthea used her space manipulation power to stop them. Calypso was about to attack them all, but she was stopped by her two sisters because they didn't want to cause a bigger mess. They only wanted to find the Seed of Life, which was in the form of a golden apple, the only thing that could restore the realm of the gods. After that, they took Freddy and made a barrier that Billy and the others could not pass. Freddy was then taken to the realm of the gods and imprisoned along with the wizard. There, they argued over the fact that Billy had shared Shazam's power with his siblings. Meanwhile, at the Rock of Eternity, Billy once again used Steve to write a letter to Hespera as a form of negotiation. Meanwhile, Freddy was also interrogated by Hespera, Calypso, and Anthea. He was asked to mention all his siblings' names, but because Freddy refused to tell them, Calypso used her mind control power to make him speak, but unexpectedly, he managed to endure it most of the time. The only name he mentioned was Billy's. After that, Freddy and the wizard were thrown into a hole, which was the nest of the dragon that guarded the Seed of Life. Fortunately, in the middle of the panic, Anthea suddenly came and saved them both. It turned out that her closeness to Freddy made Anthea feel sorry for him. Anthea seemed to have fallen in love with Freddy. After receiving the negotiation letter from Billy, Hespera and Billy finally met. Unexpectedly, the meeting was just a trap set by Billy and the others so they could catch Hespera, but it turned out that Calypso was also there. A fierce fight between them ensued, but because they were badly beaten, Billy and the others decided to retreat. Thankfully, they managed to catch Hespera and intended to use her to save Freddy, but Hespera deliberately let herself caught so that she could get into the Rock of Eternity and steal the Seed of Life that was kept by Billy. At the same time, Freddy and the wizard tried to escape from prison, but when they were about to escape, they saw Hespera, who had found the Seed of Life. Seeing that, they both decided not to escape without the Seed of Life. Meanwhile, Hespera showed the Seed of Life to her two sisters. Hespera and Anthea intended to plant the Seed of Life in the realm of the gods, but not for Calypso. She instead wanted to plant it on Earth as a form of revenge against humans for the death of their father. In the middle of the debate, Freddy sneaked around to steal the Seed of Life, but unfortunately, he was caught. Luckily, Billy arrived at the right time so he could save Freddy and the wizard, and most importantly, stole the Seed of Life back. Calypso was mad because her sisters were caught off guard and didn't realize that the Seed of Life was stolen. She then used the staff to wake up the guardian dragon to attack Billy. As a result of the attack from Calypso, all of Billy's siblings lost their powers except for Billy. Calypso easily took back the Seed of Life and planted them in the middle of the city. As a result of the seed being planted, the whole city was destroyed. Moreover, from the plant, various types of monsters appeared which began to attack humans. Soon, Anthea came and intended to help Billy. Thanks to that incident, their foster parents finally found out that their children turned out to be superheroes. Meanwhile, Anthea and Hespera met Calypso and tried to stop her, but unfortunately, Calypso didn't listen to them and instead attacked Hespera and turned Anthea into an ordinary human. Since they had lost their powers, Darla suggested that they ask help from the unicorn to get rid of the monsters. After meeting with a group of unicorns, Darla used some candies to tame them all. Finally, with the help of the unicorn, they managed to frighten the monsters around the city. At the same time, there was a fierce battle between Billy against Calypso. With the help of the guardian dragon, Calypso succeeded in winning over Billy. At that very moment, Billy realized that the dome covering the city was reacting to the power of lightning from the staff. He immediately approached Hespera and revived her.
Powers, medical powers.
He then asked Hespera's help to stop Calypso. Billy lured Calypso to come closer to the Tree of Life, while Hespera shrunk the dome until it covers a small area where Calypso and Billy were inside. A very great fight between the Calypso and the guardian dragon against Billy ensued. Every lightning strike continued to be absorbed by the staff so that the magic staff was overpowered and finally exploded. At the cost of his own life, Billy managed to finish Calypso and the guardian dragon, as well as Hespera. With the destruction of the Tree of Life, the monsters and unicorns finally vanished. In the realm of gods, Anthea and Billy's family buried Billy's body. They all finally returned to being ordinary humans because Shazam's staff was destroyed and lost its power. Wonder Woman suddenly came, and as a god, she repaired Shazam's magic staff and used it to revive the realm of gods, restore Anthea's power, and revive Billy. With the return of Shazam's power, Billy could also revive his siblings' power so they could all continue their life as a superhero. Together with Anthea and the wizard, they decided to continue their life. In the end, Amelia Harcourt and John Economos were visiting Billy and intended to recruit him to the Justice League on behalf of Amanda Waller.